Hi guys, welcome back to the Pride of Villa. So here is another game preview for Newcastle versus Aston Villa. A game where we're going into after, thrashing a team for the first time this season, 4-0 against Brentford. Didn't see it coming, a great team at Brentford. And obviously Newcastle coming away with another win against Tottenham. Not an easy side at all. Obviously goals coming from Callum Wilson and Almiron. Two players we're going to have to look out for. And obviously, we are joined with Ben Law again. Ben, how are you doing? How are you feeling after that last result?
Well, I'm feeling very delectable. I've seen a delectable medley of football splendour on Sunday.
Beautiful, wasn't it? There was
was
not
beautiful.
one. There was nothing wrong with that performance. Nothing.
Well,
I honestly can't think of any negatives.
Well, that's what we can discuss today. We can have a quick little analytic into that. Obviously, the big news though for Aston Villa is the appointment of Unai Emery as Aston Villa's new head manager. We're going to have a quick talk about that, and then we're also going to take a look going into Newcastle, as Emery will not be taking over the club until next Tuesday. So if you are looking forward to this video, obviously please subscribe to the channel. It is getting very hot and spicy on the Pride of Villa. We're on the way to 1,000 subscribers. That keep the momentum going.
Yeah,
you can also keep it going on the Instagram and Twitter as well. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Like you said, Nathan, Aston Villa 4, Brentford 0. We were there. A really not unsurprising. Sorry, that's completely the wrong word. Saying surprising result there. Obviously, it was the first game without Steven Gerrard. Nobody knew what to expect. Aaron Danks would be taking over the training on the first team, and lo and behold, he goes and completely creates a reaction. Something that was expected, something that we needed from Villa. And what's he going to do? 3 goals in 15 minutes, completely seals the game after that ultimately. And then also getting that additional goal in about the 60th, 17th minute. Really building upon that. And ultimately giving fans not only some confidence again, but also we know what we can achieve with this club. Perhaps maybe the answer was the manager just wasn't the right fit for it. Obviously, plans have changed. We couldn't go into it thinking just because Aaron Danks has got this one win, that maybe there is something to work there. I know we said it in the video that if there was something tangible that could be retrieved from Newcastle this week, then perhaps we could start to say Aaron Danks, maybe, just maybe, there is something. But ultimately, Villa acted ahead and appointed a new man at the helm. We will get onto that. But ultimately, I'm just very, very uplifted, essentially, from Sunday. It gives us something to build on, as I said. 2 goals for Danny Ings. That's going to give him the world of confidence. Ollie Watkins as well, finally getting a goal. You can see how much it meant to him. Leon Bailey completely running the show and ultimately drawn away from it, man the match. Tactically, it was a very spot-on game. Completely flooded the pressure onto Brentford. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it with the crowd. I think that really massively helped us as well. And ultimately, as I said, you're perfect afternoon. Some slight misglares here and there from players. But as I said, on the flip side, the amount of quality that we saw on that pitch that night reminds us where we can go as a club, the ambition that is there, and that sometimes all it can be is just one little problem can help unravel the whole package.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Steve, it's you know how I am. It's like when you single one person out, I don't like it, but it was just so obvious the problem. And when a manager can't relate to not only the fans but the players, and that doesn't have that connection, it's just not going to go down right. But that's all done now. We have Unai Emery. I'm still in disbelief because
it's actually their disbelief. We had all these links. I know Unai Emery was one of them originally discussed, but it's classic Villa, isn't it? One morning you wake up. Villa believed to have discussions. Next thing I believe it was very late in the evening, to be fair, Aston Villa confirmed the appointment of head coach Unai Emery as Aston Villa manager. Now, obviously, this is the big talking point from the football club. Firstly, from an outsider's perspective, what a massive, massive coup this is for Villa. You know, Unai Emery, he's been a very experienced manager. He's done it with PSG, he's done it with Arsenal, and he's done it with Villarreal. Now, obviously, the big one there for me that stands out is Arsenal. Yes, it did not work out in the end, unfortunately, and perhaps one of my slight issues is Emery built for the Premier League? Is he a manager that can thrive here, considering what he has been able to achieve in the likes of Spain? But you got to also think in the 79 games, I think it was, that he's been with Arsenal compared to Arteta's 79 games, he's achieved a greater win percentage compared to Arteta. He got into a European League final. Admittedly, he didn't win it, and they ultimately got really crushed in it. But he still got there, achieved on, I believe, a budget of less than 50 million, and with a club that had to play, the amount of teams they had to play was ridiculous as well. It's just everything about it. You know, we couldn't get Pochettino, we couldn't get Tuchel, but we're still not messing around. We've gotten somebody that oozes for quality.
Saying that though, when we had that list, like obviously Emery, Poch, Deutsch, Thomas Frank, Tuchel, the two biggest names on there, in my opinion anyway, Poch and Unai. Am I right?
I mean, I know Tuchel. I mean, Tuchel was never going to have the job anyway. But it's still, but the whole point is that's still a big compared to Emery and Tuchel. Tuchel is the bigger name,
of course.
But it's like I said, it's what he brings to the club. You know, somebody that I think is more of a tactician, somebody that's really going to take it game by game and say, you know, we might play with this formation or we might play with this style of play for this game. That's what Emery is going to be bringing. And as I said, the fact that Villa Football Club are in 14th place, you know, with Villarreal, he managed to win the Europa League with a team that's perhaps not the best, but, you know, he's managed to build them into a really good team. And it's the fact that in his interview, he said it was just an opportunity he couldn't turn down. Perhaps suggesting that maybe he wasn't content with what he was going to get with Villarreal. Perhaps maybe he felt he'd reached that limit with them and said, you know what, I feel like I've proven myself now in Villarreal what I can achieve. It didn't work with Arsenal, but let's try again with a club in not a current similar position, but in the sense of history behind the club and the ambition. You know, Villa's something that we can achieve, and if I can get this team working, then, you know, job's good, isn't it? It's actually what else he brings though. He's a player that's, you know, very passionate for the game. He's going to bring a lot of fire, a lot of energy into the dressing room. Somebody that's a very youth heavy squad builder. Somebody that likes to rely on the youth. So perhaps we're going to see more of the academy players perhaps coming through. You know, and it's that experience as well, going from the French league, going from the Champions League, going from Europa League, going from playing it with Arsenal. You know, he knows what he's doing, and hopefully with the possible appointments as well from the backroom staff, you know, I can't really comment on it simply because we just don't know the geezers, so we couldn't really tell you how good they are. But, you know, it just feels like a mad sentence to say Unai Emery is Aston Villa manager. It does not feel like the two worlds should be clashing together.
We've always been missing, though, isn't it? It's like we get these big players in recent years, you know, Wendy, Coutinho, Danny Ings, players like that. But no disrespect from Dino or Gerard's a big name as a footballer, but as a manager, doesn't really hold anything. But with Unai, he's someone who's won things. That's what really stood out to me.
But that was it. He was sorry to cut you off again. It was what they said, that they wanted somebody that could match the ambitions by winning those trophies and having that experience in the Champions League. And that's what he's got. He's got that, unlike a Gerrard, unlike a Dean Smith, who, you know, Gerrard maybe just perhaps isn't, you can't say he's not built for managing, but perhaps maybe it still needs more years. Yeah. And then obviously Smith is apparently getting hounded out by Norwich, even though they are very near the top of the league.
I'll say this to the Norwich fans: stop being so ungrateful, because this guy will get you promoted. Just give him a bit of time, little twat.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then obviously, you know, big names. It's easy to go for a Steven Gerrard who doesn't have the experience, and then it's easy to go for a big name like Unai Emery who has the experience and knows what to do. Ultimately, it's one of those things. no one can predict what it's going to be like. No one knows what's going to happen. You're just going to have to wait and see. We're going to have
Just
to
hope
ride
for
it
the
out.
best from
Ride
it.
it out together. You know, we've wanted change. We've now demanded change. We've gotten possibly one of the biggest managers we're ever going to get in a very long time.
Yeah.
Of Aston Villa Football Club. It's time to see what this club really is about. Now, obviously, due to working regulations and permits, he will not be in effect essentially as Aston Villa manager until next Tuesday. So that does mean Aaron Danks is going to get the second game for Newcastle. Obviously, whether that happens to be Danks' last game and Neil Cutler's last game, the other two staff members still remaining with the Villa club. I imagine they're going to be staying in some capacity, especially Cutler. Although, to be fair, them bringing in a goalkeeper coach of Javi Garcia.
That's what I mean. It doesn't feel right with them two, though.
No. We're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen there. But as I said, not until next Tuesday, this football club still remains under the control of Aaron Danks. But he will also be watching him from time to time because he needs to essentially get to the ground running, really, Emery. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait and see. But as I said, that's for really next week to talk about Unai Emery, because ultimately there's nothing much more we can say other than welcome to the club, and hopefully we finally get what we've been asking for. But finally then, Newcastle versus Aston Villa. We are not very good at St James's Park. Last season, obviously losing 1-0 in such a dreadful dross game of football. Kieran Trippier free kick. Newcastle this season, I know some idiot on Sky Sports went and said that it wasn't like they haven't been handed their place in the league currently. They deserve it. That is a lie. I would admittedly, yes, on paper their team is not great, but I mean, if we started to have the budget that a Newcastle probably have, it's not as if Eddie Howe is a top 4 manager. He's not.
Nah.
There is some more stuff behind it, but regardless of it, Newcastle this season have been excellent to watch, and it's just a case of what Villa is going to bring. What do you think about it, Nathan?
Well, I was just saying, to some lads at work, like it's nice to see, even though it's Newcastle, we haven't got the best, relationship with them. It is nice to see another team up there in amongst the top 6 and the top 4. Someone new. Like, I'm not saying they haven't been up there before, but it's nice to see other than like Liverpool and all that. It's nice to see someone else. So fair play to them for getting there. 100,000,000% wouldn't have happened if they didn't get these new owners. Eddie Howe has obviously had a big impact on them, but we must remember who their top priority was as manager. It was Unai Emery who turned them down. Going into this game now, I'm excited. One, I'm happy Danks is going to be managing it because I want to see what else he can bring. And it's not a case of, all right, if we get Sue in there, if he really impresses, he keeps his job. It shouldn't be like that. He should keep his job regardless. He's done an amazing job, and so has Cutler. But, the football we saw against Brentford, I want to see more of that. And I think we should, if we talk about formation now, I want us to keep the same formation.
Obviously, Kamara and Digne, as of tonight, are Digne reportedly ready to be back in for the game against Newcastle. Kamara's accelerated training. So you probably won't see Kamara. Digne, however, I think, for me, going back, as you said, formations, I think formation stays the same, and I think team stays the same. You build confidence on it. Newcastle, they're a team. Exactly. Yeah, Newcastle, they're a team. They're going to be playing with the likes of Joel Linton, Callum Wilson, Bruno Guimaraes. They're going to want to pile on that attacking pressure. They're big, strong players. We need that defensive structure. So by playing Douglas Luiz, by playing Dendoncker, who I think really deserves a shout as well, because
that's a good point.
I've always said, I'm not the massive fan of him, but you've got to hand it to him on Sunday. He was an absolute rock, and really fun. I saw on Twitter, in a great sense, he finally feels in that position that we want someone that just soaks in that middle of the pitch and does that defensive duty, and that's what he's the rock we've been missing. But I'd keep the same formation, keep the same attacking line. build that confidence, build on it, and then hopefully we can see a little bit more rotation in those substitutions.
That's what I'm saying. So are you saying keep the same formation?
Yeah.
Would you agree that we need to see the likes of Morgan Sanson in this game?
No.
Do you think it is his time to leave in January?
Well, first of all, I think he's going to be leaving anyway. There is no denial about it.
The only thing I could say is we've got this new manager. Would he use him? I don't think he will. There's something about him that previous managers don't like. I don't know what it is.
My issue with Sanson is he's been here 2 seasons. It's like the same with Gilbert. The players that have been here for so long have hardly had any games. Why are they still here then? Because it's not fair on the club to keep wasting the wages on them when someone from the academy or someone who actually wants a chance could be given this opportunity. If they're clearly not in your plans, why aren't they gone? Now, that's probably not going to change under Emery. Would I like to see Sanson play? Of course I'd like to see Sanson play. I didn't think McGinn had a really good game when he came on, but to be fair, he didn't come on with enough time. Yeah, I was going to say, it was one of those games where we didn't really need to make substitutions because no matter who you would have brought on, it wouldn't have changed anything. I'm dead set Coutinho does not need to come on Saturday. We don't need to see. Who don't we need to see on Saturday?
You probably have lots of Ramsey on the bench.
Yeah, we probably don't need a Ramsey, but I would say attacking wise, maybe McGinn would be better suited to this game, considering the probably more stronger, possibly aggressive nature that Newcastle might play. Sanson would be nice as well to provide a bit of creativity going forward if like Dendoncker or Douglas Luiz perhaps tire. Cameron Archer would also be, Cameron Archer is always going to be a great option. I don't want to see him get 5 minutes. I want to see him get 20 minutes if, say, Watkins or Innings doesn't have a good game. Switch it to a 4-5-1 if needs be. It's about finding that sense of knowing which players are going to suit well to this game, understanding, I'm going to have, Konza and Mings playing this game. Cash might not last the whole 90, might need to bring on Chambers, who's going to have experience. It's about finding that right balance, but also matching the aggressive nature while still ultimately find the ball in the back of their neck. So ultimately, that's what Villa need to do to get the points.
That's what I mean. It's like, we don't want to change that squad at all. If Digne is fit for it, which he looks like he is,
I wouldn't play. I think I've already said Young for me being player of the season. I don't see how Young can get dropped at the moment. He's been absolutely electric.
You cannot drop Ashley Young at the moment. The guy is yet to make me think, he's having a shit game. I have not said that once this season. This has been one of the worst seasons we've seen. But the guy has been such a rock. And I was sitting next to you and I said to you, does he get into your World Cup squad? That's how.
No, he still doesn't. No, that does not change anything.
Of course he doesn't. He's too bloody old, but it's just been absolutely amazing for us. But yeah, we both agree. Keep the same formation. I'm not too sure what sort of squad Newcastle's going to put out. I know for sure Isaac is injured, so that is obviously a plus. The thing that does concern me about Newcastle is Nick Pope has the best record in the league as keeper. So that's going to be something we're going to have to work with. But I think he will have a right, hard game going up with logs of Bailey and like Watkins. These sorts of players are going to pester him as a keeper. But we'll go to your score prediction. What are you saying? 2-1
Newcastle. It's hard. I really want to see Villa do an upset. Actually, no. I'm going to say a draw.
Just
2-2.
Remember as well, I believe, anyway, I could get this wrong, only Man City and one other team have got a point there.
That's what I'm saying. My issue is, we don't do well at St James's Park. We don't. We suck when we go to Newcastle.
1 point in the previous 2, so yeah, he ain't been great at all.
It absolutely sucks, man. But I think ultimately it's a game that needs. Well, he needs to establish what Emery's going to be working with. He's going to be watching in some capacity.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately I do have the feeling that Villa can go and do something. You know what I mean? I don't really. It's not I don't picture us losing, but I've got that sense of feeling like Villa won't be on that losing side. But then at the same time, I don't think it's going to be a Brentford. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be sort of like in the Championship season when we played Brentford at home.
Mm-hmm.
On the promotion, where it was like a 2-2, like Villa weren't having the best of games, but they still managed to get back into it in the end.
But, yeah.
I think ultimately that will be it. I think Newcastle will take the lead both times, but I think Villa will find a way back into it and perhaps end the game thinking that we could have gone and got 3 points. But yeah, what about you?
You're going 2-2.
Yep.
I would have said 1-1. But yeah, I'll go 2-2 as well. You know, I think that game against Brentford, we know how to put the ball in the back of the net now. Players know where they stand. Their positioning's spot on now. I don't see why we can't go there and not score a goal. Yeah, obviously in the back of my head, I think we're going to lose. But this squad that, you know, it's just everything I'm saying now. It's just based on that last game. So yeah, I'll go 2-2. Goal scorers from us, I will go
Ings.
Yeah, I'll go Ings and Bailey. I think them two will hit the back of the net. I think Watkins will have some sort of sound both of them, probably an assist. But for Newcastle, I'll go Miguel Almiron on double. I think the guy, everyone's just saying online it's all because of Grealish. I don't think it's that. I think he's just cemented himself into that squad and he's just doing himself wonders. And I need to say as well, he's not football related at all, but I thought this guy was about 20, 21 years old. He's 28.
Yeah,
he's
proper.
28.
He's been here for time.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know that. So fair play to him for, finding his form finally. And yeah, so that's going to be the end of the video. We're both, positive. It's nice to see. At the end of the day, it's very nice to see after the shit start we've had to the season. And hopefully we can really kick it off now. And yeah, with Emery, we can give him time because we just know what sort of elite manager we have now. So yeah, obviously we are on the up on the channel as well. So if you don't mind, please subscribe to the channel. We're already on the way to 800 subscribers, but the dream is 1,000. Yeah, I've been Nathan. He's been Ben Law. Up the Villa with the pride of Villa. We'll see you in the next video.